Okay, in this video, we're going to go over how to set up your gradebook. So I'm already logged into SmartMark, but let's go through the login procedure. So I'm going to log out. So now I'm going to log in. And this is the screen you always see. So you log in with your email address. So this would be dwsmith@vsb.bc.ca. And students, they'll have something similar. They'll have like depending on what district you're at. So in Vancouver, students would sign up with their student number at learn.vsb.bc.ca. At other schools, it's like first name dot last name at school district, 35.bc.ca. Depends on the district. So here I'll go enter in my password and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to go into tools, and the first thing I'm going to do is go to the setup tool. And there's 4 different kind of pages or tabs I can go through. Grading setup, so basically how we're going to deal with the grades. And then I can set up courses, classrooms, and students. The first thing you have to do is you have to set up your grading setup. You could try to do courses first, but it just kicks you back into the grading setup. So let's go through this. There's quite a few things on here, and I'm going to talk through them. The first thing we could kind of do is actually choose your proficiency scale. So in Vancouver, we use beginning, developing, applying, and extending. Other districts probably use emerging, developing, proficient, and extending. And some teachers may be interested in having a 5th scale here. So like beginning, developing, applying plus, and extending. SmartMark won't give you any more than 5 different levels to choose from for grading. There's also an incomplete level that's kind of like below the beginning or emerging. So in Vancouver, I imagine most people will choose beginning, developing, applying, and extending. The next thing to look at is these kind of percent signs. So SmartMark gives you the option to calculate an estimated overall grade from your gradebook. And to do that, it wants a little bit of information from you. Basically, how do you rate what a beginning is? What do you think a developing is? What do you think proficient or applying is? And what do you think extending is? So in Vancouver, school board developed this kind of scale, for instance, that this could be a recommended scale for people to use. So it's basically kind of talking how we can go from this scale of beginning to extending, and how that could relate to maybe some percentages and overall grades. And I think many people would suggest the beginning starts at 50% and incomplete is below that. And that's how this gradebook is set up. So these default numbers I have on this page here. So if everything was beginning, a student would be 55%. Everything was developing would be 70. Everything was proficient, 82. If everything was extending, 100. That's based on basically these kind of numbers here. But you can tweak these numbers to your liking, however you see fit. So if you're not too sure about this, it's probably not a bad idea just to keep them as they are. The next section here talks about things like teacher view and student view, show percent, things like this. So in the actual grade book itself, there's 2 different views. There's a teacher view, so that's what teachers see. And there's a student view, so that's what the students will see. And you have the option of showing either yourself or the students some overall kind of summaries. So what this list here does is it checks what will be shown to teachers, yourself, and what will be shown to the students. So, and it's further split up between grades 10 to 12 and 8 to 9. So maybe starting with 8 to 9, the teacher, you have the option of showing yourself letter grades and proficiencies, and same with students. They can see proficiencies and letter grades. And for grades 10 to 12, there's the additional option of showing a percent. And these percent, letter grades, proficiency levels, you can toggle them on and off throughout the year. The last thing I'd like to highlight is that it's kind of risky perhaps to change from one scale to another scale once you've started grading things. In particular, if you start the year with beginning, developing, applying, applying plus, and extending, and you grade a whole bunch of work using this scale, and then later on in the year you swap back to swap to beginning, developing, applying, extending, the gradebook is going to automatically convert applying plus to an applying. And this might have some kind of unintended consequences. I think it's best just to as best as you can, pick a grade scale and stick with it throughout the year. Once this is all done, you can just press submit. And it says here, it wants you to confirm about the proficiency scale. It's basically another warning that you shouldn't play around with the proficiency scale too much. So you click that warning, and your grading setup is all complete. And that's the end of this tutorial.